Hey guys, it is Bean here, and today we are making a video that you guys have been waiting for a long freaking time, dude. Guys, I wanted to thank you guys for 1K. Like, that was my goal of YouTube, to reach 1K, and I've finally done it. That's just amazing. I can't really thank you guys enough. It really means so much to me, so just thank you guys so much for 1K. Let's keep on growing the channel, dude. This is awesome. I've been loving YouTube. I'm gonna keep going until YouTube dies, so yeah. Well, you guys know it already because you saw the title and the thumbnail. We are here for the wheelie tutorial. You guys have been requesting this for so long, and I've just kind of just not gotten around to doing it, and today I just decided to finally. I do not have my main bike, my Norco site. I'm actually on my dad's Trek 820, but yeah, so another reason I'm doing it on this bike is to prove to you guys that you do not need a good bike to do wheelies. This is literally the lowest, the complete worst model mountain bike Trek makes, so you guys can definitely do it on your Walmart bikes and stuff too. Don't worry, you can do it. It just takes practice. I guess we should just get started, shouldn't we? Learning to wheelie, I'm just going to tell you guys straight away that it is not something you pick up overnight. It's going to take time for you to learn. I practiced wheelies for a few months every day after school, or pretty much almost every day. Sometimes I wouldn't, but almost every day I'd go outside and practice a wheelie. And after 2 months, I could do them pretty solidly. So, and then, I kind of stopped practicing after that, but I would still ride, I would still do wheelies, so I was just over time getting better. I used to be more focused on going further back and trying to get 12 o'clock and stuff, but I then decided to work on getting more distance, and distance is what I'm a lot better at now. I can't go as far back anymore as I used to be able to, but I think being able to go farther is better. So yeah, so let's get into this. So the first step of wheeling is to find the right gear for your bike. On this bike, I tend to wheelie in first gear on the front and 2 in the back, and yeah, second in the back. This bike's got 3 gears in the front and 7 in the back. I feel that 1 and 2 is the easiest gear to wheeling in on this bike. So once you find the right gear, you know that it's not super if you're going about this fast, being able to pedal at this speed, this is a good gear for a wheelie. Now the second step is finding a nice grass spot. This big field I have near my house, this is perfect. Great place to learn. It's relatively flat, and if you fall back, you're probably not going to get really scraped up. You might get a minor scrape, but it's not going to be as bad as learning on pavement. You can learn on pavement too. I actually learned on pavement, but if you guys want to be safest while doing this, it is probably best that you learn on grass like this. Third step, make sure you wear a helmet. Trust me, it'll pay off if you ever loop it and fall back. If you're not able to jump off the back like this. If you slip or something and fall back, trust me, it'll be worth it that you wore a helmet. And that's all the beginning parts of it. So now let's get into the actual technique of the wheelie. So, the actual technique of the wheelie. Well, so if your bike has a suspension fork, and this is kind of a more mountain bike related video, but it doesn't have to have a suspension fork. You're going to want to stand up on the bike and kind of push on your handlebars, just to make sure your fork will at least move a little bit, because that'll definitely help you out if you do have a fork that can compress and then bounce back out. That'll help you pop the wheelies up easier. If you don't have that, well, there's another method to that. Instead of pushing in like this, you can just lean forward and then pull up to give you a little bit of a boost. Now, when you're actually learning a wheelie, I recommend starting off in the lowest gear possible on your bike until you want to start carrying the wheelie. So, I recommend starting off in 1 and 1. Make sure you have your hand over the back brake if you're going to start wheeling, because if you start to go too far, the back brake is going to save you. Here's an example. You go like this, pull the back brake. See, it didn't really help me too much there because this back brake sucks. I know a lot of you don't have very good bikes, but I have a feeling your back brake will probably be better than this one. which you can see I have it pulled in like all the way right now. It's barely doing anything. But either way, it'll still at least, if your bike brake is like complete garbage like this one, it'll still at least like slow you down from looping it. So then if you go like this, you can have time to put your feet back like that. So it's just going to be overall a lot safer. Now, so go in your lowest gear on your bike and just have your feet, your primary foot, whatever your primary foot is. For most of you, it's going to be your right foot. You're going to have your left foot on the bottom like this and your right foot up on the pedals. I think you guys can see this. Just like this. And then you're just going to do like one sharp pedal motion. I'll look down as I do it. Get used to bringing the front wheel up like this. Boop. Simple as that. And then maybe once you get kind of used to that feeling of having your front wheel off the ground, just try and carry it a little bit. So maybe go like this and then do a few pedal strokes. You probably won't be able to hold it that long because I'll show you some footage of me. My first time ever trying to wheelie was actually on this bike, not this one like specifically. It was on mine, but my bike, my old bike, is the same as this bike. So I was learning wheelies and I'd go like this and get like super excited. But all I did, guys, you guys want to learn how to wheelie, it takes practice, it takes time. And that's how I learned. So simply just get used to doing this. Maybe try and hold it a little bit. You know, you might be able to only do it like this at first, but it'll still take time to learn, so do not worry. You're doing fine if you're still learning. Now get kind of used to that. You know, maybe be able to do at least like this. And once you can do that, switch up into your best wheeling gear. And I showed you guys how to find that at the beginning of the video. You know, if you're going like this fast and you're pedaling like this fast, this could be perfect. If you start to speed up in your wheelie, you can always shift up mid-wheelie. It's not as complicated as it is on a dirt bike. It's much easier. Let's get used to the pulling up motion. So if you have a fork, you can kind of put weight on your fork like that. And basically, the suspension compresses in and then bounces back out because of the rebound system in it. So once you do that, it'll kind of boost your front wheel off the ground. So push in, then pull up like that. And get used to doing that. Another thing I want to warn you guys about, because this is actually how I broke my wrist learning to wheelie a little bit, is turning your bars. If you're gonna try and do a wheelie at a good speed, try not to turn your bars like that. Only turn your bars once you get really experienced. Because if you come down while your bars are turned, going at a slow speed, see, it's not gonna really make a difference because it'll automatically just straighten out. But when you're going fast, it's not so good. You'll pull up, you'll land like this, and then your wheel will like kind of skid out, and then you'll just lose it, man. You'll crash. I actually do have footage of me breaking my wrist. Here it is. I'm not going to show like the aftermath, but I'll show you the crash. Ty, help! Lesson is, don't turn your bars until you're experienced. Because once you're experienced enough, you'll be comfortable enough to straighten your bars back right after you go down. You've gotten used to pulling up. If you don't have a fork, just lean your weight forward instead of like compressing the fork and just pull up and pedal. You guys, it has to be a fluent motion. So when you do it, you have to be pulling up and pedaling in that same position with your feet like this. Pulling up and with your feet in this position at the same time, pedal and pull. That's how you're going to get your front wheel up. Now, you want to start learning how to carry the wheelies, not just bringing it down instantly like that. So, when you're carrying the wheelies, if you have a kind of a bad bike with like a bad brake like this one, you're probably going to be using the brake a lot in the wheelie. If you have a really good bike with disc brakes like my main bike, you can just really tap the brake when you need to. Or if you want to keep it at a really steady point the whole time, you might also be using it at the same time. But with this, if you're not using the wheelie the whole time, you'll probably loop it really easily. So, honestly, it's just gonna take getting used to, but you have to find the balance point. And that's probably gonna involve going like that a few times, you know? And if that happens, make sure you pull the back brake as you're jumping off the back. Do not be afraid to jump off the back. I know that's the kind of thing to just say without you actually doing it, but once you do it a few times, it'll just feel natural to you. You don't want to loop the bike with you sitting on it. I've done that before, and I messed up my back for like a week or so. It did not feel good, I'm telling you. So just get used to jumping off the back. Maybe just kind of practice like this, kind of hold the bike like this, and just do it with one foot. Put your foot in this position and just kind of push up and pull, and just kind of get used to doing that. Once you get used to that, as long as your wheelie is not too fast, it'll probably be fairly easy to just do your wheelie and then jump off like that. You'll probably be fairly used to it once you do that a few times. Now we're going to learn how to carry the wheelie. Make sure your hand is on the back brake. And honestly, it's kind of as simple as just continuously pedaling. Don't bring it down. You know, you're not going to get to balance point right away. It took me a little bit to find balance point. But just kind of chase out the wheelie like you would on a dirt bike. You see people who aren't used to wheeling, they're not at balance point. You can notice they're constantly giving it gas to keep the front wheel up. It's kind of the same thing with a bicycle, except you're pedaling instead of twisting the throttle. So just kind of, maybe you get the front wheel up like this, and then now you just keep pedaling. So go like this and pedal, 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 pedal. I didn't use the brake till the very end there. And if you guys are still learning, you're probably not going to be able to do that right away. I could have not used the brake and probably been totally fine too. But, you know, get the front wheel up, pull up, chase it, pedal, 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 you know. Just get used to doing that a bit. And I'm telling you guys not to turn the bars, but that's probably a safe speed to still turn the bars, because you're not really going fast enough to be affected. I'll show you guys an example. I'll land with my bars turned. You know, it'll just kind of straighten itself out. It might put like a little jerk on the handlebars, but it'll work out in the end anyway. Now, once you start going farther back, like this is when you're going to start needing to use your brakes all the time. At least on a bad bike like this. Because you don't want to go that far. Right now I have my left foot on the ground to keep myself from totally looping it. A lot of times you won't have to totally jump off the back. You'll just be able to put one foot down and save it, but it's not always going to be like that. You're going to have to get a good feel with your back brake while you're wheeling. In order to really do that, you're just going to bring the front wheel up and then pull the brake. And you'll notice it'll pretty much bring you right down. You know, see, there it took a little longer to lock up because one, I was on a little slippery dirt surface, and two, these brakes suck anyway. But, you know, just kind of get a feel for it. I'll do it on grass here. Pop the front wheel up, hit the brake, and it goes right down. You can also kind of push on your front end a little bit, which will help. Although you might not always think about that. But just make sure you have your hands on the brake. That's the one thing I can't stress enough about with wheelies. And it's the same way with dirt bikes. You have to have your foot on the brake, because that brake is going to save you if you go too far back. Now at this point, I'm hoping you're comfortable enough to maybe go off grass a bit. And you'll notice once you go on cement, it's going to be much smoother. And it's going to be much easier to keep the wheelie. So maybe you want to practice on cement a little bit. It'll probably feel a lot smoother and a lot different. And it's probably going to be a lot easier to actually keep the wheelie as you're on the cement. Also, one tip, it is going to be a little bit easier to find balance point uphill, so if you have an uphill section near you, you won't have to go as far back for balance point. With that far back point, it's going to be exactly the same if you're on a flat surface. It's just being on a hill helps you get there faster. So guys, that's pretty much all I can really tell you with how to wheelie. Honestly, the number one I can't stress enough is to just practice. You're not going to get it right away. It seems like you might just because the way this video is, but I'm also very experienced with wheelies already. So, you know, just getting used to doing that kind of stuff, just practicing. Maybe it'll take a few days for you to practice going like this. Maybe it'll take a few days for you to practice going like this. Alright guys, I hope this video did help you out and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. Very much appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I post mountain biking and dirt biking content, whichever one you like, moto and not moto. And yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.